or?
This
Okay.
is Sergeant of
It's
Arms.
7:00. Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Sarah? Here. Ross?
Yes.
Audrea? Here. Nancy?
Here.
Eric?
Yes.
Jay?
Okay, upcoming legislation. It's gonna kind of go down. A lot of them we've talked to death. Ordinance 2024-13. Is there any questions, concerns on that? Ordinance 2024-14. Resolution 26-2024. Okay, ordinance 2024-16. Resolution 31-2024. Okay. Resolution 29-2024.
Yeah, it's just appropriation. Yeah.
And probably something to discuss on this one. Resolution 32-2024, since it's first reading.
We're just gonna go with Rumpke since their prices are put in correct and they're the least expensive.
The, what will happen was since the ordinance that authorized John to put this out to bid or the resolution, John will be reporting back to council at the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
He'll make his official recommendation to the village council. I'm sure he's probably it'll probably be Rumpke. In fact, we talked to him today and he will be recommending Rumpke because of the prices. The, obviously the council doesn't have to go along with his recommendation.
Right.
But that will be it. On the ordinance or the resolution that I sent out, Bill had approved all the language and everything in the resolution. I'll be filling in the name of John's recommendation and the correct dollar amounts.
And we need to waive that, correct, due to the time.
It doesn't go into effect until January, so we just have to let them know. So we probably will want to wait at least.
Good point.
So
What,
it's
the third
official.
reading?
Well, no, because it won't even have a third reading. It's gonna be first read in November, second read would be December.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it goes into effect. We've got a lot of work on our side with the recycling that we've got to get started on and getting notices out to
So
the
if we
residents.
I was
pass
gonna
at the
ask
next
about
meeting.
that, because that's
So-
like an ordinance we have, so don't we need to, remember how we had that, if you buy a home and it has it, you have to keep it,
Right.
So
this
we
is
probably have
changing.
new legislation for that as well.
Well, that
No,
wasn't.
The
that
new
was-
legislation is, the ordinance will cover that,
Yeah.
Okay,
so they now have a choice whether they want
Okay.
recycling or
as long
not.
as that's, yeah,
So we have to get notices out to every single customer that we have within the village that says, if you want recycling, you have to fill out this form and send it back in. Even if you're a current recycling customer now, you have to fill out this form and submit it back in to us so that you can stay on the recycling program.
is that something, of course, can we put the paper online so that they can
We
print
haven't
it out?
gotten that far, but yes,
And
that's
probably spit it out on the app, I think, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, and the main reason for that is we want to make sure since people will be subscribing to recycle, it costs more money. We
Right.
want to make sure we've got their signature saying that they're willing to do that for the next 3 years.
And this will have to be done every contract, yes.
every 3
Yep.
years.
Every-
We have to
Pretty
opt in every
Opt
3 years.
in or opt out, whichever way you wish to go every
Okay.
3 years.
and when they opt in, they're opt-in for 3 years. They can't come back the next year.
Correct.
I really didn't want to do it.
Right.
Okay. Next thing up is the COI Rickenbacker variance request.
Yeah. No, I don't see a problem with it. I mean,
I-
it's one of those things
It's
where
very-
you're superseding a federal thing, just,
It's very straightforward and it has no negative impact on the village
no.
and it has no financial or other benefit to them. It's just useful space.
Are we limiting how far they can go back? or
It's
we
on,
just-
it's on the plan.
I couldn't remember. It does it say
Yes.
the actual?
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were gonna let them go to our limits or.
No,
I couldn't
no,
remember.
it tells them on
Because
If
he
I
the.
said-
remember right, they didn't even have to go back as far as they originally thought.
Yeah, it's like 50 or 60 feet, I think.
Okay, nothing else on that. Let's move on to the Addison Farms TIF discussion. Now, Mayor, in this packet with this, is this the new numbers or is this what we had last time?
This is exactly the same thing as what you had the last time.
Because I had requested, because they said that these numbers wouldn't be correct. I requested that they send that to us and they did not.
They are here this evening. They were told by Mr. Mattis to be here tonight. They thought they were going to get to present, and I told them that that was not what we do in a committee as a whole.
No.
So they are sitting out in the audience. They did not present anything that I know of, so this is where it stands as of right now.
So now this is a TIF bond, so that's different than the other kinds of TIFs, correct?
No, that's all what they're all called, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought there were two different instruments. I thought there was a TIF bond, and then there was a TIF that was,
Yeah, I might be
couldn't
wrong,
be
but-
used on property. I guess when you have the valuations here of either 450,000 or 375,000, what's that? I mean, why is there a $75,000 difference of value assumption per unit in between these two charts? 'Cause if we approve one, they build nicer houses. If we approve the other, they build lesser.
Well, and this, I'm glad you said it the way you did, because the people that are presenting this are not building homes.
Right.
Right,
So it has nothing,
we don't know.
yeah, it's kind of a, not, I won't say pie in the sky, but this is not associated with, typically like with Westport or other builders that we've had, you're dealing with the people who are building the home.
Right.
And in this situation, my concern is that it looks to me like everything that's going to be spent to get there, they're asking for reimbursement.
Yeah.
And we're going to own it and maintain it without any funds.
Who's building?
No, but it's a to be determined later.
So that's, I mean, that's
So-
why I think these are just something that they're thinking of. They can't promise us any numbers because they don't even know who's gonna
Yeah.
build. And secondly, I mean, this administration has, with the TIFs, we've given them money back on outside infrastructure, but not
Yeah.
inside.
I guess, and that's from what the sound wasn't real good at the last meeting, and from what I could make out, because we were sitting there trying to hear it. And I think what you need to look at, or your determination, because I noticed Mr. Duggar brought that up a couple times, is what you're doing is basically a policy that where council really doesn't give back money for on-site development. It's always generally, if there's TIF and TIF dollars are generated, those dollars that have in the past been used for off-site development.
Typical.
I won't say it's happened every time, but that's been the last two TIFs we've done, with the one with Scioto Crossing
Yes.
and the other one with Phase 4 of Walker Point. 100% of the money, actually with those, all the TIF dollars went to the village, and the village is using that money to make the new sewer plant payments. So, which will benefit the development and part of that stuff that had to come into play. So it's, if there is, like, if there was a major, like, let's say turn lanes have to go in,
Right.
or work on McCord Road or something like that.
Mhm.
If the developer was funding that type of work, then TIF dollars would be used to reimburse him.
Right.
He'd basically fronting the money. It's kind
Yeah.
of like how we've used TIFs around here.
Right.
Now, that's just been our policy, and you can do it however you wish. If you want to fund, put in his streets and street lights and giving back the money for all that, that's fine. But our policy has been, we'll help with off-site work. On-site work, that's part of you as a developer, eat that
Is
cost.
When he was talking, is that when, not Glenn, but the other gentleman, when he said to Nancy that might be your feelings, but the ORC doesn't back that? Is that what he was talking about? Where we said that it's only for off property? Is that what that was about?
Yeah.
The
Okay.
ORC will allow you to do whatever you want with that money.
Because they made
will
it,
allow the council to do.
they made it sound like that we didn't have a choice because the ORC wouldn't back us if we said it could only be used for offsite.
No,
That's why I wish Bill was here, because I wanted to clarify.
you've got, Grove City has a policy. They will not do a TIF to a residential developer. Their policy is no TIFs for residential developers whatsoever.
Really?
Yep. They will not, they said if someone wants to develop residentially, it's on the developer. So that's their policy. Our policy has been, we'll do residential TIFs, but the TIF money goes towards off-site development.
Which benefits everybody, not just that development, quite honestly.
Benefits
Because if Durant Road and that was
the village
wider,
generally.
more
Yeah.
people would could use that.
Well,
And the way it is, it's really not two full lanes.
Well, whatever type, if the TIF dollars that are generated though from a parcel of land has to some way benefit that parcel of land.
Yeah.
you could upgrade the plan. You could, I mean, there's a lot of things to do. But in this particular instance here, I have a real concern about the cost of upgrades to McCord and Durrett Road. Durrett Road is a county road, McCord Road is a township road. And not only is there going to be a huge investment in order to handle the increased traffic load, but 15 years later, you're going to need significant monies to repair that road, to do, I mean, the maintenance that kicks in, and without something built into this understanding that allows us to afford that, I can't see taking on that kind of liability.
And I'm pretty sure that this same group has an option on the Stower farm. So if they end up doing that, and then we're going to have that to consider with this.
I think another thing you might want to look at was on the bond table itself. It appears under the principal column that they were looking at roughly $7.7 million worth of improvements. And the payback on it, and it appears that they're estimating that the TIF will collect 19 million over the 30-year term. And so the payback would be 7.7 plus 8.9 million in interest, which with that, there's a 15.5 payback. So the village there would be money left over at the end of the TIF going to the village. It looks like to the tune of a little under $4 million.
But by that time, we're already on the hook after 3 years for maintenance of that stuff.
Typically
2 years.
a 1 year with the maintenance bond.
Can we extend that? If we're not getting TIF money back till later, can we ask for a longer, what's it called, a warranty bond or whatever?
We've done that in other cases where we've had streets put in under what we consider to be unfavorable weather conditions. And we say, you're going to put this in now, we want 5 years on it. And we've done things like that, in the past. Whatever it takes to protect the village interest in this is really going to be the key thing. If there are other funding mechanisms, the NCA, if that's something that's viable, bring all the cards to the table, bring them in, and let's talk about what's available. But the TIF is going to have to generate something that allows the village to afford this.
And I think that actually the first question council needs to decide is whether or not you wish to use the TIF dollars for on-site funding, as far as putting in the streets, putting in the water pipes,
The
putting in the
policy's
sewage.
worked up to now. The policy has built us a pretty nice village, and those monies have been used for the greater cause of everybody. Why would we change that now? I'm asking everybody. I was looking at you, but
If you start,
right, then it's going to be.
you've changed.
They're going to say,
your
"Well, you did it
stance.
for these guys."
And that's, I think that's the thing though, that needs to be figured out. What do you want to see if there is moving forward, and if there is a TIF, what do you want to see the TIF dollars spent on? Are you willing to change your policy to start funding on-site projects?
I personally would like to see the estimated upgrades to the other roadways so that because I think they're way underestimating. Because they're going to have to do probably a turn lane from 104 to do it correctly for Durrett Road. McCord's going to have to be widened, new culverts, new drain tile.
I don't know that any of that is included, and that'd be a question for them.
Yes, and that is the question.
Because
What all was there?
Isn't there a turn lane going on Durrett
The-
now from 104?
no, on Durrett Road. There's going to have to be a
Oh,
turn
yeah,
lane
at the end there.
and all the way up to McCord Road, pretty
Yeah.
much.
McCord is a 1.5 lane road.
At best.
Yeah.
At best.
For most-
Taking a motorhome up there, it's
Right.
one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's just, but from a practical standpoint, we need to have some kind of an estimate about what are we talking about? This investment that's
Yeah,
going in here, because we're dealing
These are guesstimates.
with
Is-
unknowns.
Is the $7 million strictly for on-site work, or does that include off-site?
I don't think it can include offsite.
I don't think it
I just
did.
don't see
Well,
that.
I don't think it
And,
did, but I
and we
don't
know
know.
what Grove City does. Do we know what any other place does, like around here? Like what do you know?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
I
know,
don't
that's why
know
I'm asking.
residential.
I don't know what Joe did.
So-
I need to check with them.
Yeah, I don't know how Bloomfield, if they do theirs one case at a time, what their policy is.
Their for their TIFs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a case by case basis, is what I was told the week before I went on vacation. Was they address it, but they don't usually do residential unless it's something that already needed done, that was going to need done either way. I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, since it's a policy, would it be wrong for us to take future asks like this out and just not do them anymore for residential?
But I think if you look at it, you have to look at these case by case.
Of course.
Because if you would have a developer come in here and they possibly, okay, we're going to develop this whole area and we've got this great plan and it looks really nice, but we got to cross a stream because of the way the lay of the land or something, and we have to build $1 million bridge. Now that might be a time when council says, well, I like your overall development, but I understand it's not feasible if you have to pay for this $1 million bridge. Maybe the village want to chip in and help with something like that. That would be a unique situation. This here is just kind of like they're putting in streets, just like side of crossing,
Everybody else.
and everybody else, like I said, in the past, side of the crossing, we called them up and they said, yeah, you can TIF it because the TIF doesn't really cost the developer any additional money. And it doesn't hurt the homeowners anything. It's the TIF is strictly with the distribution of the money. And with that distribution, it's up to the council to decide how do you want to distribute it. But like I said, TIF money coming in must benefit that property somehow. But that's a pretty wide definition. You say, I'm going to build I'm going to build a sewage plant, and your sewage goes into the plant. It works.
Yeah.
It falls under the definition of helping that parcel.
Yeah.
If you fix McCord Road, straighten it up, or you widen Durrett Road, developer fronts all the money for that. You take TIF money and you pay him back with that.
Right.
That helped his entrance, but it also, there was some benefit to everybody else as well. So it's strictly on what the council wants to do. Do you want to, and I think that's the first thing that needs to be decided. Or do you want to invest money into on-site improvements? And I know the developer, their comeback probably to this is, well, the prices have went up and everything, and
But so is the price of the homes.
and the streets ultimately, the streets and all that infrastructure, we put it in the ground, we develop it, we build it, and then we give it to you.
But then we got to take
We
care
gotta
of
pay
it.
We gotta
And
file
those
it, we
costs
gotta.
have gone up.
Oh,
And
they're
those-
going way up. I just think it's
So
seven hundred
it's-
thousand for Belshazzar, and they're saying $3 million for everything that needs done on this property.
Well, no, they
That
did,
was my-
no, they said 700 and, well, what are we looking at here? 7.725 million.
Yeah.
I would sure like, and I know there's a cost for engineering and stuff. I would sure like to see what's included in that $7 million.
And that would be a question for them if,
I mean, if it makes sense, maybe entertain it. But as of right now, I don't see how they can connect it to make sense for the betterment of the village. To
is that 7 million off-site improvements or is that 7
right,
million
is that
on-site
total for the
improvements?
project? Yeah. I just
It's, but like I said, that's you guys' decision.
So can we, maybe ask them at the next council meeting, put them under business items?
And ask them to possibly do a present or an explanation / presentation of what that would
of those
include.
They're
numbers.
hearing our concerns, so you come back with answers to that, along with whatever they have tonight.
That's, yeah, we can put them on the meeting. That's absolutely no problem.
Okay, next thing is State Route 762 safety issue.
Mhm.
Sure, we all got the email.
Yeah. And he's actually come in and spoke on this
Yeah.
as well during the comments.
Now, is there,
Now, there's two, which issue of the two safety is, which issue?
This is
by
Anderson.
the car wash?
The 35 miles an hour?
Yeah, where you go.
Well, you know, so we're talking really, if I read it correctly, we're talking about changing one sign from 50 miles an hour to 35. Is that correct?
Yeah. that's
Well,
what
we
happened.
can't change that.
No, no.
Yeah.
I know.
That's
Yes,
sure.
yes, I think that's the way I understood
Okay,
this.
but I just
Yeah.
want to make sure because we
Yes.
have no authority or opportunity beyond that. You go beyond Walker Road, you know, we're not
Yes.
a part of that. So what we're really talking about is going from the third. Now, my next question is, are we required, and I know we have to go through ODOT, has to be petitioned through ODOT, do we have to perform the full range? Because I did this 4 years ago on 762 out at Chestnut Estates, and they turned it down. I wanted to go 35 miles an hour from 50, and they said no, you only have address on one side, and they don't have entrances.
Well, and that's what's probably going to happen here because in South Bloomfield with 316, they
Okay.
have a lot more traffic than
Yes.
we do there, and they will not go below 50. That's why you have 3 different speed signs on
Yeah.
Asheville Road. And it's based on curb cuts and total
Right.
vehicle count. So a traffic study is what, $250,000?
Well, no, it depends. The county, the county has a nice, Chris Halls has a nice format, that I think that we can probably use. I think we can get by with the thing. But the county, excuse me, the state already has traffic counts on those roads. I mean, you look under Tim's Transportation Information System, you look under this, and it has counts on all these roads around here where they do traffic counts on a regular basis. So that, I mean, I guess what my question is why does this have to be so complicated? Is this or is this something that we need to ask Susan? How do we go about this? What do we get into?
I think that would be the place to go because you know as well as I do, this is Susan's work. This is her wheelhouse. She is very familiar with the ODOT stuff. But and I will say we went down this road 10 years ago when I was mayor back then, and it was pretty much. And our concern then was when Walker Point was brand new and there was only one entrance in and out of Walker Point,
Yep.
and all that traffic came right there at Walker Road and 762.
Yep.
And we went through the steps and did what they required, and ODOT said nope.
And I would say,
And I haven't seen any more entrances added
other
or
than
taken
the-
away.
other than the
Right.
firehouse now with that. And I don't know, could we and the township go to them together? I don't know that would sway them, but it would actually benefit both entities. So the problem, it sounds like, Mr. Anderson, is not only the speed coming in, but once they hit that corner, that 50-mile-an-hour sign, and they're just tromping all over it and filling his, property with black smoke and
Noise.
a lot of noise.
Wow.
I mean, it's no different than anywhere else on the
Oh,
state route.
He sent me a video where a car was coming in there, went leaving the village, went way left of center down in his grass.
Yeah.
Cars coming in are swerving into the other lane just to get by everybody.
No doubt in my mind.
And
And unfortunately, right there's nowhere to sit to enforce that unless we have a
Yeah.
LiDAR and somebody's sitting at the entrance to Jay's neighborhood.
sitting down at the car wash, you can kind of see some of the foolishness going
Yeah.
on.
He also
I mean-
told them they could sit in his driveway.
Yeah, Mark wouldn't care if anyone's sitting in his
Well,
driveway.
I-
Sit in
You'll
the
slow
driveway.
you'll slow them down, but you're not going to modify the behavior financially, which is probably what it's going to take, unless you're able to get them on speed or something.
And once again, it's a cat and mouse game,
right, it is.
unfortunately.
So it's 35 going out?
We're talking 3 signs here, right?
There are
It's-
3
so as you
signs.
come down the hill,
Yeah.
it goes from 35 to 50 at the top of the hill.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then as you're coming in, it's 50 until you get to coming up the hill to the curve, and that's where the 35-mile-an-hour sign.
I have a visual if you want to look at it. I brought up a
So
map.
the signs that we can change, and we can't go below 35 because way back when
Correct.
Grandma was mayor,
I know.
she just put a new sign up, and they came in and said, "Whoa, that's a state route. It can't be below
You're saying
35."
We're trying to change 3 signs.
There's only one sign, but the other ones are already 35, I think.
Yeah.
there's a
So
35
there would be a
coming up the
sign,
hill.
there would be a sign
Yeah,
at
but
Fox
his
Pit.
suggested are these highlighted ones.
Well, the ones that you have your fingers on out here at this end, those are out in the township.
Oh,
We have no authority.
got it.
Is it past Walker Road?
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you go past Walker Road, then we,
So right there,
we have no.
Taylor's
authority.
So he needs to
driveway.
go to Sayota trustees for that.
Yeah, I think he was,
Well,
we
yeah,
might want to go talk to the trustees about that sign. I mean, granted, I think it should have been put in when they put the firehouse.
And then these are
I think
are
that's their
these like are
responsibility.
these actual like accidents? And then what are the
Those
the
are
other
accident
Yeah,
markers.
those are,
ones? The
where
yellow
they're,
ones are accidents
Yeah, I
too?
don't know the period of time,
and
but yes.
2 or 3 of those were very serious.
Oh, my, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the person was in critical for quite a while. But even the township, they can't change it from 50.
no, I mean, emergency sign. That's
Yeah,
the law,
well,
I
and
think
that's
on them.
that. When I check, that's a state thing. They have to say it's okay to put those.
It's on them though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as far as that part of it, we
Yeah.
kind of discussed
Yeah,
that,
we did,
what,
yeah.
6
Yeah.
months ago or
Yeah.
something or
Yep.
other.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a fire chief ask.
Yeah,
But yeah, as far as slowing this down, I have no problem, but like I said, to be quite honest, there hasn't been any driveways added, and the traffic down there has probably decreased since they put another exit to Walker Point
Well, that.
from
yeah.
our last
Oh, yeah.
from our last
Yeah.
ask,
Yeah.
and they denied the last time we asked.
so maybe.
So I wouldn't get my hopes up in seeing ODOT drop that down. And I said, if we can do it, I'd be all for it. But
See what
I
she-
don't
Maybe
know.
just putting an officer there, if they have to sit there just a few times, you had to just,
Park
you know,
one
for a
of our
little
empty
bit,
cars.
just scare them or
I was
something.
going to say, put one of the empty cars.
And
in
I
the car
don't,
wash.
and I don't know as far as adding guardrail or anything, that gets into ODOT too. They're the ones that decide.
Yeah.
We have
can
no-
look into
yeah.
it.
We, yeah,
Yeah.
It's a bad situation. I understand that. And if we can get it changed, I'm all for it, but
And,
we
yeah,
haven't had it. We haven't been successful.
And I really think that, with Susan's input, she may have an avenue to pursue this.
She may have, maybe
Yeah.
she knows some other way to go around this.
So maybe she can,
I can say something to her to see
Maybe
if
she
she
can have
has
a
any
update.
suggestions.
yeah, give it to us at the council meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
moving
and
on.
just
Oh, yeah.
and just to kind of jump around a little, she will be giving you an update on the turn lanes at going into Chestnut Commons
Did
and
it the last
Chestnut.
meeting.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah, one just needed the curbing, but the other one needed
You got it.
extended. And
Right. She talked, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Good.
Okay. Next one was a cell phone tower. We all got that email as well.
Yeah, so I can say that we've actually had 3 or 4 farmers real close to the village reach out multiple times to the different cell providers, and they say they don't need a tower here. And AT&T and T-Mobile and Verizon for about 9 months, 5 or 6 years ago, had their engineers out here to try to figure out why we're such a dead zone, and they can't figure out the problem. So I know that Mr. Hill, Mr. Struckman, I think the people out here have all said, because they get paid a lot when they put a cell phone tower on, and the companies aren't interested.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I appreciate the people's concerns. I can say that the way that we dealt with it when we had, I think it was Verizon, is you call weekly and they will end up sending you a box to put in your home, and it will help you in your home and like 3,000 square feet around. But Verizon said that up by the trailer park on Bora Road is a complete dead zone for all signal, and they can't figure that out at all.
When I first moved here to Commercial Point 17 years ago, I had Verizon, and because it was a dead zone, they sent someone out to verify, and they said, we'll release you from your contract, no penalties, and you can find a provider. So we switched. So while it might not be fun to switch, that might be the only option if there's no interest or ability to have another cell tower.
But when did you say you checked on cell towers, or when was the last time somebody actually?
I don't know
checked on
when the
towers?
last time they reached out, but I know they have several times since
Yeah.
they started adding, because they would all love to have a land lease with a tower.
In
'cause it's-
2018, they did, there was a company that was a research company. It was not, they were not Sprint, Verizon. They were a research company. They came in here, and John Gross and I met with them 3 different times, and they were interested in putting up a 155-foot tower Okay, and we had, and everything was set, the ideal place would have been on Main Street in somebody's front yard. But the next best place is out here where we have ground at the water tower. And we did everything, agreed with everything was fine, and we were all set to go. And all of a sudden, never heard any more, they just disappeared. Now, in the meantime, the laws for communications have been amended and adjusted. And what I saw last was anybody can put up a cell tower, but once it's up, anybody can use it. So I think they're waiting for that first person to bite the bullet and spend the big bucks so that they can all jump on board. I mean, that may be, I don't know, but I do know that we had talked about it, and Wendy was involved with it. And boy, it just sounds great. Everything's all set to go. We're gung ho on this thing, and we're even counting the free cell phones we're going to get for the village. And all of a sudden, it's like, crap. It just disappeared. And you call back, and it's like, dead zone. So that was the last thing that we had an involvement.
You've never gotten a call from anybody wanting to
No,
discuss with you.
no. And that's unfortunately, it's up to the telephone companies to decide where they wish to invest their money with towers.
Yeah.
And the village has no say in that whatsoever, unless they would happen to approach us and want to set something on our land. Other than that, we have no say in what the phone, I mean, I know it's not what the residents want to hear, but that's how it works.
Sounds
It's-
like they just need to keep calling and
Yeah.
complaining.
And that's what they told us way back then, was just continue to call. And they will either, like Andrea said, let you out of your contract, or they'll send you the box and see if that works.
Yeah, that's their
But it's-
cheap way out.
Right.
Yeah.
I was reading right before the meeting just to make sure that the numbers correct, but 15 to 20 miles is the range for LTE. And I mean, as a crow flies, we're 4.2 miles, I believe, to the closest tower. So we should have decent 4 or 5G signal, because it's
Yeah.
on Hoover Road at 71.
About the county line too.
sounds
Yeah,
like it-
just, yeah, right.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's just one carrier, Verizon.
Yeah.
We had to switch
That's
from
the
them
major-
as well.
Asheville's the same. Actually, Asheville's Verizon, and I can't remember the other one, because their police departments had to change like 3 times because their cruiser Wi-Fi would not work. So we're just in that area that I don't think we have the rooftops or the amount of people here daily to have enough pull for them to put up a $30 million, tower. But I mean,
All right.
Thank you.
Next, police issues, Sarah.
So first of all, I just have some questions just because I don't know what I don't know. But on these reports that you sent out,
Yeah.
Like under assisting another unit, why is there unknown about who called and unknown about where it is?
I don't know, maybe Eric can answer.
well, the geocodes for assist another unit, it should never be unknown. I mean, unless
But there
the
are six of these for assisting another unit, and it's an unknown code and an unknown.
they could have ours set up.
Those would be chief questions.
Yeah, they could have it set up to where if it's not in the village, it'll go as unknown. So they could have had to go out into the county for a call or something.
Yeah, I mean,
But those say outside limits, is what I'm saying.
yeah, there.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's outside the limits, there's a code for that. So like, I'm just wondering why there's so many that are unknown and unknown. Like that to me is a little bit of a red flag. I was just looking through the survey,
Yeah,
and
and
I was
The only
like,
thing,
maybe I'm missing something.
all dispatches come out of the county. And I don't know if it has something to do with them being dispatched by the county and they don't know who originated the call,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I'm strictly guessing.
Okay.
The chief should be able to give answers to anything on that report though.
Yeah, I would like to know. I'm just curious, so I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But also, I just before the end of the last meeting, I didn't get my 2 cents in, and so I just wanted on the record. But a lot of people came in and they were concerned about the police officers asking questions to civilians, and it was brought up that like it was Eric, but they shouldn't be asking Eric or any other civilian who to cite for something or how to do a job. So I
Did the
just wanted to
officers
say-
actually do that, or is this hearsay?
Well, no, when Eric actually responded to the public at the end, he said, you know, when the officer went in the establishment, he was asking, well, who would I even say? Because there's owners and there's managers and blah, blah, blah. He shouldn't be asking Eric that, but he shouldn't be asking any civilian
If
that.
he's got a question, it should go to his.
Yeah, and he
And
didn't,
I agree.
he didn't ask. It was in conversation. He said, well, I'm not even sure who I would cite there. I had 3 owners, I had
Yeah.
bartenders, I had a band. You know, that's just, I mean, I'm a retired police officer. They're going to talk.
No,
He
I
wasn't asking
understand,
for guidance.
but you have to take into account how that looks visually, not just to us as you know when you're saying it, but like to the constituents and to everyone in the village. Like it just doesn't appear that that's on the up and up. And so I just want to make sure that on the record we need to be careful if they are doing that, whether it's Eric or anyone else. If they need more training, they need more training.
Absolutely.
And
I
so
agree.
that is my only 2 cents, and I just wanted it on the record.
Can we do anything about, we're getting complaints from all over the village about the loud exhausts and the you know,
Once again, you say we're getting complaints all over the village.
we've had people.
How many
come
have
in-
we received?
I have received none.
They've come in and spoke
Have you
about it
received
though.
any?
That's what I mean. During the public comments, they've come in and voiced their concerns. There's been
Mm.
4 or 5 occasions where people have said that the excessive
And I
noise.
won't argue the point. It is loud.
Yeah.
Very loud.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
when they-
can't argue the
Coming
point.
out of their behalf.
Well, so do they? Maybe we need to educate them that they need to come in and do. I thought coming into public comments would be a pretty well.
That's not a report, and we have encouraged everyone.
Yeah,
to
okay.
Please, if you have a complaint, please call the office so there's a paper trail.
Okay.
There's a record. I mean, talking up here, you've had your 5 minutes, and it's kind of like, okay, thank you, goodbye.
So they should email,
Yeah.
so we have a paper trail,
Or come
more
in.
than call.
Or-
I would rather have something in paper.
And the email, we get emails, and when we do, they,
Emails, we also have a complaint form that they can fill out, so
Okay.
we do have, and that's actually, I think, online, isn't it, the complaint form?
yeah, there is a procedure in place, and that causes a paper trail to be started, and someone has to answer it.
Well, then I think it's out of ignorance and people are coming in. They don't know. They think when they come in and talk at a council meeting that is the complaint.
That's the old way.
Yes.
That's right.
Well,
You're
yeah.
right.
I mean,
That's-
Right, that's the way it was.
yeah.
My dog barks.
So now it's official that there's a process that we need followed.
Absolutely.
Is that
And-
form under zoning?
Miscellaneous
forms?
forms.
Miscellaneous?
Because I mean, we have habitual offenders daily
I
at
know.
11:05 p.m. Do it every single day.
know.
You know,
What complainer make the noise?
make the noise.
Oh, okay.
Well, I am probably touche with that.
Yeah, but no, I agree. And unfortunately, that also is a game of cat and mouse.
It is.
I mean, when the officers are visible,
Mhm.
you don't hear a thing. And as soon as they leave, I probably hear more of those than anybody else because they come to the end of the street.
We got it the
Stop.
same though.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They're at a
Yeah,
stop
you're
sign and then they give it the gas till they
Yep.
come to the hawk. And then they got to stop and turn the corner and then they give it the gas
Yep.
again. I mean, it's cat and mouse.
Yeah, we might be even there.
but
One
it's
thing I'll ask the chief, there was also a mention of an anonymous complaint in our ordinances. We
It
can't
says
take
that-
anonymous complaint, but I'm wondering if they asked, if he or she, I don't know, if he just said it was anonymous.
Well, they're not supposed to tell them who
Right.
complained anyway.
So I'm
I
wondering if
actually have a
that's
bigger problem
what
with
that
him
was.
saying to the person, "Well, it was an anonymous complaint,"
well,
because our ordinance does state that they must give their name and address for it to be. an
but he
actual
isn't
complaint.
really at liberty to be passing out that information.
So
Right.
that's why I'm wondering if it was really an anonymous complaint or if he just said,
That's probably, the
It's
wording,
anonymous.
the wording needs to be changed, because you
Yes.
can't use anonymous.
Or you wind up. I know that they have had people call in down at the sheriff's office and not
Oh.
give their name, and he has instructed them because of all the complaints we were getting to dispatch an officer on every complaint that came in, just to find out. And most of them were noise complaints. People were calling in down there not giving their name, and you had the thing for a while where they just we're not going to tell Commercial Point.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
then that blows up in your face.
Yeah.
So he goes down and says, I want to know if every complaint that comes in, well, it was anonymous. Well, you can't have it both ways. So we've been trying to go, I know he's been trying to go on every complaint. Yeah, should we be dispatching on anonymous complaints? No, but when we wasn't and we went down that road, we're trying to reach a happy medium.
Well,
With
and that brings up
everybody to
another
make it
question
work.
for me on these. Where do the noise complaints fall under? Like,
That's a chief question.
It
Quite
appears,
honestly,
why is there not a noise?
I'm
it
sure
would be
it's,
an investigate complaint, and if they don't do a report on them, which I don't believe they are, it's not going to be there because those are only calls that they actually did.
Yeah,
They
see, but
report.
like under investigate complaint, there's 3 unknowns with an unknown location. So that doesn't help us know anything.
Right.
And then I have a question too. For parking, what code does that fall under? That's not a traffic
Yeah,
offense?
it's,
Is that a traffic offense?
He would probably key it as that because it's considered a traffic stop for parking.
Okay.
So it'd probably be an
And
86.
I was gonna ask, did we make sure that everybody's on board with, we're done with warnings and we're ticketing now?
There's a parking complaint section
Oh, cool.
right here.
Which one? Okay.
It's page 5 of 7.
Okay.
Now, when I spoke to the chief, I'd asked him,
What complaint?
and he
had one?
said that was a complaint, a report he couldn't do.
Yeah, I
He
think
said it
that
has to
Paula
come from
keeps track
Paula.
of the parking
Yeah,
citations
different.
that come
So
through the
maybe-
Parking Violators Bureau.
and that's the separate report that generally comes
Correct.
out that I send in the council packet.
That
When
is the
Paula gives
actual-
me the report and I just forward that
That's
one.
for the Parking
Oh,
Violators
I see
Bureau.
that.
If it's an actual parking citation where they come into court,
Mhm.
and not through the Parking Bureau,
Different channel.
that's probably what's on there.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mm,
But-
How many did we have the last time?
Do you remember?
Was there 30 some or
It'll be on the October one, I think.
there was
There's a
some
lot.
huge amount?
And we had 1 month that we didn't have any because we were in transition with.
We didn't have a
Yeah.
magistrate.
Yeah.
And they basically wasn't going to write parking tickets because if they went to Circleville, they was going to get kicked out.
And you have to have a
That's
magistrate
that's
to
an
appeal
officer.
Okay, so we are writing them now then?
them. Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have the magistrate, okay.
And you don't have to
Just
send an
making
officer
sure.
down there unless it goes to trial.
Correct.
Yeah,
Well, unless they request for a prelim, which
Right.
they do a
Yeah.
lot for like
Yeah.
DUIs, but yeah. it's
Is
just-
that it on that subject?
Mhm.
All
For
right.
now, I
Is
guess.
there any?
one question that I have, who is the person or entity that operates the CP forum?
I don't know. It's not-
Which one? The official or the
The official is Scott
Scott
O'Neill.
O'Neill?
The CP forum
Who lives on
is,
McCord Road?
yeah, he
Okay,
started it
that's
like forever ago.
helpful.
And the CP forum is, there's 2 people, I think
Gary
One's in-
passed it off to somebody.
one's in
Well,
Chestnut.
But there's nothing official about it.
No.
Okay, well, I just, because
Oh,
I'm
you are
reading
you talking about
in,
the official
I'm-
commercial point forum?
I'm
that's
reading
us.
in some of the letters that we're receiving, it says, I put this on the CP forum, and I'm going, yeah, and?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
and that's part of the thing too. You've got a complaint and they'll take the time to put it into Facebook, which doesn't fix anything,
I read something.
but they won't send a complaint to the
Some of them
village where we can do a paper trail and actually go after it or pick. You've obviously got the phone in your hand. Call the village and tell us. It's
Yeah.
just, but no, they don't want to go that far, but they want to put it on the form and then get 30 comments.
Anonymously.
Yes. I
Anonymous.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
So is
that's-
the complaint form something they can do from their phone?
It's on our website.
So they can click on it and
But
Yeah.
they
Fillable
probably
form?
have to.
can we
It's
do
not
a link
downloadable.
No.
from the
It's
app
not
to that?
downloadable.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering where
Yeah.
it was at. If that's
'Cause we
something
could
you
do
can
a
add
link.
to the app.
It's a printable
Yeah.
form, yes.
If
Yeah.
you want, I
She
can
can make
make
it
it
fillable.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's not that hard.
You haven't done that yet? What have you been?
She did all my
Don't
other
start.
stuff.
But then where would it go?
Gladys, take a
What
seat.
email would that go to?
I love it.
Right now, all the stuff that comes in on the website goes Wendy. She gets them and distributes them. If it's like a police complaint or something.
So
police
if we make
department.
it like that, is that gonna put too much extra on you? No, okay.
If we make-
Forward.
Okay, fair enough.
You could
I love
actually
it.
in your
I
email
love it.
create a rule that automatically-
That was all I had, was that question. So,
So if we can do a fillable form and attach that somehow to the app,
I can show you.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay, any additional business? other than that?
Oh, yeah, I mentioned it to Alan, but I wanted to bring it up officially is as we're getting more of these big forms and stuff, are we to the point that the village should maybe think about providing all of administration a laptop that we use just for this, and we wouldn't have to maybe have a lot of these big things, and we're not bringing people's personal computers in that could possibly be a records request. It wouldn't be that expensive.
Who are you talking about? You're talking about council members having a laptop?
Right.
No.
It's not that expensive.
Well, I have a computer and I print out everything anyway because I like to see, like, I like to print it and open it and look at it.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that with a laptop. It's
No. I'm
it's
old
not
school.
even, I mean, I have it open, but I literally am printing everything and looking at it because it's just easier for me to do that versus the laptop. So my own personal opinion is that it doesn't help that much to have a
Okay.
laptop.
You see my stack of paper?
That's what- before the meeting, I
I
was,
mean, I still
I was
have,
pulling out.
these are all my papers. I'm like, here's my laptop. I don't even. And Ross doesn't even. He's like, no, thank you, no laptop.
Ross's computer itself is dying, so.
Hey, I got my Windows 7 back. Why?
Is there anything else?
Wendy.
Okay.
You do that.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty.
Et tu, Brute, laughing, unbelievable.